morning, everybody. It's April 6th, and the guys are going to reseal the parking lot today and tomorrow. So right now they're in there cleaning up. Hey, buddy. It's my neighbor. It is April 6th now, and we've begun another phase of improving here. It's my neighbor over there. So the hot mop guys were here today, and they patched and sealed a ton of cracks and big old divots in the pavement where the dirt was showing. They're going to be here tomorrow to seal coat this whole thing. So I'll try to get a time lapse or something of that tomorrow. Maybe I'll put a camera in my window here, try to time lapse them. So they had to completely clean this whole parking lot. They were here for about 6 hours, sweeping and dusting and blowing it all off. And it's very clean. Tons of pine needles that were here. So we'll see how this turns out tomorrow. Alright, it's the end of the day on the 7th of April. It's about 5:30 and I'm just walking over here. They got the parking lot done today. If you remember, there was a bunch of big ditches all in here, like 2-3 inches deep. They filled all those in. They sealed the whole thing. It really needs to be repaved, and that was my original intention, but if I can just reseal it and then do it every couple years, I'll probably get another 10 years out of this. And they got all the stripes in over there for parking. Sure looks a whole lot better. So what did it run to get this whole parking lot resealed? Well, the cleaning job took an entire day. They took out 4,000 pounds of dirt. They took out 4,000 pounds of dirt that had settled in here from when we get rains, and rains come wash through here and they leave sand and gravel. They took out 4,000 pounds of dirt, cleaned the whole thing, resealed it, restriped it. $6,700. All right, it's April 11th, and just coming to work, checking on the shop, and it looks like the gate guys came, the fence people came, and they took my gates off. Because now this week, we're repairing this entire fence. The initial estimate to replace the fence was $32,000, and I said, look man, I got a budget of like 5 to 8. And he says, look, to do the minimum repairs, to make it nice, it's gonna be $9,800. So I said, let's do it. So I'm putting off painting the inside of the shop today because it's gonna be in the 40s starting tomorrow. Next week it'll be back in the 70s, and that's when I'm gonna paint the inside. So I'll update you on the fence repair here. This is day 1, Monday morning. All right, it's the 13th of April, and they've been working on this fence gig for a couple days. I wasn't up here yesterday, but they got a lot more done. They're replacing all these bent poles here. There's another one right here. There's another one down here. And then they've tore the rear gate off, and they're putting in the new poles here. And they're gonna rebuild that rear gate, and they're rebuilding the 2 huge sliding front gates. I got a call last night from the cement people. One of the last things we have to do before we can start moving in, as I had talked about before, is replacing the slab in the bay, or at least part of it. So that pour date has now been pushed to May 5th. So at least we now have a date. After that's poured, we have to wait 21 days before we can start bolting lifts to it. As soon as we can start bolting lifts, we're gonna start moving, and that's where we're at. So in the meantime, what I'm doing is tearing apart the office. We're purging, getting rid of stuff that's been on the walls, upstairs, laying around, stuff we don't use. We want to move the least amount of stuff possible. So taking this time in the beginning to get rid of a bunch of junk. Good morning, everybody. Fast forward, it's now April 22nd. And we've been waiting a month and a half to have a contractor come up and cut the uneven cement out of the bays like we've talked about before. And I'm using the guys that did all of our cement work around our house, not the pool cement work. That was done by the pool contractor, but the dog run, the side yard, the big flat area on the south side, they were so good that I called him back up here. So I'm on my way there to meet him there, and of course the one day in 2 or 3 months it's snowing. So, but this has to happen because after they pour, we gotta wait 3 weeks before we can start bolting our lifts to the ground. The concrete has to cure. So he's here. He's like, I'm here. We're doing it. So I'm on my way there just to go over some details with him, and it's exciting. This is the last big thing that needs to happen before we can move. I'm trying to get in before the first week in June ends, because that'll give us 3 or 4 weeks of my old shop being mine still and paid for, but vacant, where I can go back and kind of clean stuff and just get it ready to give back to the property owner who I've been renting from for 18 years, and he's been a customer of mine for 30 years. So we're on our way there. All right, these guys are here. They brought up their stuff. We got the shop open. They're over there having breakfast at the restaurant, and they're gonna start jackhammering away. Alright, so these guys are here tearing out the slab. It's the biggest part of renovating this place. So I got the fence company's here too. So there's our brand new gates right there. Or at least they're dropping stuff off. This is our whole east side fencing. We're going to use privacy slats from this corner all the way to the highway. just to clean up this look right here. So I'm gonna head back over to the shop. Moving and a shaking today for sure. All right, well, it's about 3 o'clock and these guys are done cutting out the wonky slab, right? And they're off taking all the scrap to the dump. And we're also redoing that apron out front because that was just buckled up into a million pieces. The rest of it's perfect. So this is what it looks like. They're gonna be back next week to take out all the dirt and make forms and put in the rebar into the slab so it doesn't lift. That dirt hasn't seen sunlight since 1965. And what's really weird is the slab in here was, in some areas, less than 3 inches thick, but in other areas, it was over 6 inches thick. And then the apron out there was over 6 inches thick. So I don't know what they were thinking in 1965. So it's been a long week. It's Friday. It was freezing cold today after beautiful weather for the last 2 weeks. So I'm out of here. Look at that beautiful sky. Not a bad place to work.